Highlights. They are one of the most important things when we are doing realistic drawing. But how do we give highlights in a most effective way? I'm going to talk about it today. Welcome to my channel. This is Ece Gurler Art, and today we will draw this beautiful portrait together, which is very happy and shiny. How do we do the reflections on the sunglasses? How do we do the reflections on the lips and other places? We will learn all of that today. I had talked about light and shadow and how they interplay. If you haven't watched that video before, I am putting it right here for you. Also, in this video, I had shown you how to include your highlighted and shadowed areas in your initial sketch. Without further ado, let's start our portrait drawing. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please do so before we start. Let's give some highlights. First, let's start with glasses. It was important to add all the dark places in the glass first, and then add all the highlights. For the dark shadows in the glasses, I used charcoal dust and my number 8 brush. After that, as you can see, I added all the reflections with the help of my Tombow mono eraser. For the skin, I used 4H pencil, and also I used some of my charcoal dust. For the eyebrows, I used a very sharp medium charcoal pencil. In order to give right midtones, I added many layers to the nose. And for the darkest shadows, again, I used my medium charcoal pencil. In order to do the smile lines, I used 2B and 5B pencils. Also, of course, I used my HB and 2H pencils as well. For the mouth, we have different kinds of values, and they are each very important in order to give a realistic effect. As you can see, there are many reflections on the lips. The best way to give these reflections on the lips is to leave them white. So I didn't touch them at all, and I will come back to them later. Now, let's talk about the body parts. Again, as I said, in order to give the highlights on the arm, the best way to do it is not to apply pressure to those highlighted areas with your pencil, or if you're applying some pencil, you should have H series. So for the darker parts, we are using B series, and for the lighter parts, we have H series. And of course, we continuously blend so that we can have a nice, realistic look. Here you see that I'm giving a highlight with the help of my kneaded eraser. Kneaded erasers are great if you want to give highlights in a rounded, natural form. When we are doing the clothing part, there were a lot of folding parts. For the clothing part, in order to give this folding effect, you need to use different values. Here, there was a combination of graphite pencils and charcoal pencils. And in the end, as you can see, I go with my kneaded eraser. I made it smaller in the end. You can see I'm just pressing my kneaded eraser to the area that I want to give highlight, and then I'm pulling it back. The more time we do this, the wider it gets. One of the best things about kneaded eraser, you can change its shape by just basically applying pressure with your hands. You can just shape it the way you want. After this, of course, we're applying again the darkest shadows. In the arm, there is arm bracelet, and for that, I used again my graphite pencils and charcoal pencils, but I went with my graphite pencils first. After adding a few layers of my graphite pencils, as you can see, I'm going in with my Tombow mono eraser, which is my eraser pencil. I'm adding the line-shaped highlights. So instead of kneaded eraser, I'm using this one here because I'm working on in a smaller area and I'm working in lines instead of just a rounded area or a larger area. I continue to do the bracelets, and it is important to add the graphites and the values in the right way. I am adding more pressure to less pressure in order to give darker to lighter effect, and that really helps to build the highlight there in the middle. Now we are doing the last touches on the face, and we will do the background and we will do the hair together. As I'm doing the last touches, you can see that I am darkening everything up, including glasses and also the eyebrows. And the face, of course. The nose, nostrils are the darkest places, and the lips as well. The midtones are very important if you want to give a realistic result, and it was a little bit lacking here. I added as much as possible, and I added some highlights under the glasses on the cheeks where the cheekbones are. In the background there were curtains. The sections that are closer to you are going to be brighter and lighter, whereas farther from you will be darker. Since we did the background now, we can go ahead and with our eraser pencil we can add all the hair details. She's blonde, so this eraser pencil is a great way to do this flying hair and also the hair directions. I'm doing the same thing for the lower part of the hair. You can see that there are so many flying hairs, and I'm adding them one by one, and I'm finishing up the arm and the hand. For the hand, of course, I am using again a kneaded eraser, and for the arm too, because it's a larger area and I wanted to give more natural look of the highlight, and it needs to be a little bit rounded. Now let me summarize what we can use to highlight in our graphite and charcoal pencil drawing. The first one is kneaded eraser. Kneaded eraser is your best friend because this gives the best results in larger areas and where you want to give rounded effect. It looks very natural with the surrounding area, so it is highly recommended to use this in the areas like cheeks or the tip of the nose. With our tissue, we can highlight the large areas. We can pick up the charcoal with our clean tissue, and that's going to automatically lighten up that area. For example, let's try on the curtain right here. I'm going to kind of apply pressure and then pick up the charcoal so you can see how it's going to look like it's highlighted. Let's do this now with some pressure. See, it definitely lightens it up. So let's add back our charcoal there, and then we will continue to talk about more ways of highlighting. Of course, you realize that during my tutorial, I used a lot of eraser pencils. Eraser pencils are great ways to give highlights. If you don't have one, please get one because I highly recommend it. It helps me a lot. You can see that I have two different sizes. I use them in the hair section, doing the flying hair. I use them in glasses. I use them everywhere, actually. So those small areas that needs highlights can be done with these eraser pencils. Jelly roll. I have my Sakura jelly roll. These are perfect if you want really white results like this shine on the lips. I made them with my gel pen, and you can see that it is quite white and it looks really bright white on your drawing. Sometimes it might take away from its realism. So if you are doing a custom work, you might want to be careful if your customer will be happy with that or not. I am really happy with that and I love using it. Especially I use it with the white of the eye and the lips and the teeth, or if you have in other shine areas like maybe in the clothing or such. I really love using it. The second one I want to use and I want to try is pastel pencils. I have my pastel pencil here, white color. As you can see, it's good. It's not bad at all, but it gets dirty so easily with charcoal. So you need to clean the tip of the pastel pencil. If you don't, then you're going to just smear that black charcoal on other areas that you are trying to keep white, which doesn't work very well. So I tried on the teeth, it worked well, but it got dirty so easily. And on the nose I tried, but it kind of left this grayish color instead of white. And I did it here too. As you can see, it's more gray than white. So in overall, I don't think it's the best one to use with charcoal. Let's talk about the other option that we have here. What else can we use to give these highlights? What pencil we have is charcoal white. White charcoal is actually not charcoal, of course. It has calcium carbonate in it, so it's basically chalk, and it works really good. It is not still as white as your gel pen, but it is still quite white and it still works if you want to highlight those white areas. In the hair, it worked fine. And as you can see, there is a difference between this white and that white. The lower white part is eraser and the upper white part is the one that I just created with my white charcoal. It is again a little bit off-white to gray color. So I have 3 different kinds of colored pencils here. I'm gonna try all of them so we can test if it depends on the brand or not. So the first colored pencil that I want to try is Caran d'Ache Luminance, my most expensive colored pencil set, and their white color is amazing when I'm doing portraits with colored pencil. So we will see how it works with graphite and charcoal here. I'm highlighting the teeth, which worked fine. I think I liked it. And then in the eyebrows though, it kind of gave this little bit of grayish white color again, which is fine. I think there's a lot of charcoal there, so don't forget that you of course have to clean your colored pencil tip most of the time. Because I didn't like it, I'm going back and adding more charcoal to it. But for the hair, I think Caran d'Ache works well, but I think still it's a little bit grayish color. That's why I kind of didn't like it. Let's see what Prismacolor Premier will do. Here I'm adding more hair because she has much hair there. Here, again, I think it gave a similar result with my Caran d'Ache Luminance. Let's try Polychromos. Faber-Castell Polychromos is my last one, and I think I like this the best among all the colored pencils I tried. Maybe it's because more oil-based than wax-based. It worked better with charcoal. I don't know how the chemistry works there, but I'll tell you, I got a better result with Polychromos than the other 2 colored pencils. Here on the tip, of course, it gets black, and if you don't want to smear that, you have to clean it for sure. See, it gave a little bit more gray tone than the white tone itself. So let me zoom in to show you how it looks like with the colored pencils. Do you see how gray it looks in comparison to the eraser? Here you can see the colored pencil work, and here you can see the eraser part. Of course, it's not terrible. Again, I think it's good, especially if you apply this colored pencil on top of your erased part. It might even look better, but for now I'm trying to show you all your options. Now I'm adding my favorites, and I'm going to use them all in this place that I just filled in with charcoal. My first favorite, I think, for highlighting options is my eraser. Definitely my mono eraser is my best friend. I always use it, and again, I highly recommend it. So in this testing, I think the best results came from my gel pen, and then my second favorite is charcoal white charcoal. It was really good. And the last one is Faber-Castell Polychromos. I think these 3 worked the best. Let me try one more time and we will see the result. This is the white charcoal. Especially if you go over those erased areas, you can see that it really gives nice white color. Faber-Castell Polychromos, again, I think it gave a really good result. So if you compare this with white charcoal, I think white charcoal is stronger, especially when you apply it to the black part. But if you don't have a white charcoal, definitely use your colored pencils. Don't spend money on your white charcoal. I hope you found this tutorial helpful, guys. Don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you soon. Thanks for watching my video. If you like my videos, please don't forget to subscribe. And for my real-time narrated tutorials, visit my Patreon, patreon.com/Ece Gurler. Stay with art and love.